for a foreigner to come and say that we would like to see certain things happen so that certain things happen. The fact that we also need, right now, there's an onslaught on political parties and the disbursements of money towards political parties. It is something that even the registrar of political parties at Azimio had to go to court so that they can say that our allocations are being denied. Do you need to go to court so that you support political parties in Kenya so that we have a robust political system or the civil society? These are the things that I think, despite the fact that the US is assisting us on some of these issues, the Kenya Kwanza administration needs to wake up and realize you cannot just take Kenyans for granted. And we will not be running to foreigners to tell you what you should be doing from the beginning. Right. So this is something that needs to permeate. And the fact that the US has started those discussions and that money is coming to support civil society organizations and political parties, let us then demand that this government acts like this is the norm. And let me also caution one other thing. That Ruto has been fitted by President Biden in the US should not make him feel that this is already signed and delivered. All right? If he has 8 more years to go, I can guarantee you one thing. The US will be watching. And that is even a warning tale to every single person in the Kenya Kwanza administration. If you think after a state visit, you can come back to Kenya and you are part of that delegation and come and steal and rob Kenyans and part of the American money that has been released to you are preying on something that is not going to happen. Right now, accountability will be given more scrutiny. Congress has seen that money is coming to Kenya. They will be very keen on what is going to happen here. So for me, if I come back as President Ruto, I will be very cautious and keen to all the MPs and also the leaders in government. No more stealing, or else this relationship with the Americans, the trillions that are coming with, might disappear. And that is what is going to happen. So he better become a person who safeguards that legacy that he has already started with the new state visit in
let me come to you, Maliba, just before I come to you, Vivian. And Mokesi raises the issue of accountability. When we had Donald Trump in office, he actually cut a huge chunk of funding to various programs to the country, mainly because of corruption, lack of accountability, lack of transparency. You know, we're on the global map now, so the world is watching. Can you assure Kenyans that this money will be, you know, used properly, accounted for, not misappropriated?
Well, so far I think anyone who's been in this country for the last 18 months or so knows that the administration of the day has really worked so hard, number one, on accountability. There has not been excuses and explanations on when waste has actually happened and where mistakes have been. We've allowed the rule of law to actually take effect. And that, by the way, everybody is watching. The whole world has been watching, including the Americans now that we are starting to speculate about. Makisi is getting very speculative. Okay, they'll be watching and everything else. You know, that kind of fear-mongering, as if the Americans have not been watching for the last 2 years that William Ruto has actually been in charge. And that we have done some things, number one, that have actually stabilized our economy in the first place, that have consolidated our place in the League of Nations to earn us the place where we are today. So I think we can only get better. The partnership can only strengthen what we've already been doing. And so that we actually put to bed the idea that some external force has to force to get us doing some few things here and there. It is us Kenyans who chose this particular administration. We've been here, we've been robust. People go out, as in we've got one of the most robust constitutions. And if you look at the Bill of Rights itself, by the way, you do not need external help to actually get where we are today. The people, for example, Mokisi talks about political parties being under attack. I work at UDA. Our funding as a party has actually also been cut.
You are the ruling party.
No, we're talking about, we are party. We also,
you don't even need
we actually, we are the ones. You see, that is corruption talking. That is corruption talking.
How?
As a party, we deserve a fair share from the political party's funding. What he's actually suggesting that a ruling party does not need money, Mokese is simply justifying corruption. Because if we do not need political parties funding, where else?
But your government is the one that wants the allocation to parties.
It's not. It is the parliament. And by the way, we need to be very clear.
Who is running parliament?
Let's get here.
Is
when the president said that every government arm should cut their spending, what did parliamentarians do? The Otienda Molos of this world all parliamentarians from both the opposition and government stood on the floor of the House and reminded the president that Parliament is independent. Parliament cannot be independent when it comes to how they spend money, and then all of a sudden it's Kenya Kwanza when they are cutting spending and other people are being hurt. So either Parliament is an arm of government or it's not. Because when they defend their independence, when it's about how they spend and how they conduct their affairs, we don't then turn around and tell
Maliba,
then they become something else.
You're misleading Kenyans. You're misleading Kenyans.
Same thing for you. So
Kenyans.
it is Parliament. We as a party, we actually have suffered immensely. UDA has suffered immensely
No.
because we lost so much money.
The irony.
I shouldn't be here saying a few things from the party, but I will tell you that as a party, we've even had to rationalize expenditure, our operations and everything else, because our money was reduced in Parliament by Parliament.
Michelle, let's clarify. Let's clarify.
It's not about Parliament is an arm of government that conducts its business as they so wish.
No, let us clarify. Let us clarify. This is what happened. First of all, their person, their SG sits in cabinet, okay? They sit in cabinet, and a whole treasury takes to Parliament estimates that actually reduce the allocation that is supposed to be given to the political parties fund. The political parties fund is ring-fenced by an act of Parliament. It actually has a particular percentage. But instead, this administration decides, no. This is not, it's not an important thing. Something that has been ring-fenced by Parliament itself. Then Maliba is coming here to lie. Maliba is coming here to lie. Maliba is coming here to lie and say that
there is no lie, because we as a party are affected.
It is your administration. Why are you doing this?
Prioritized by Parliament. When Parliament went ahead to reduce money to question. In fact, ourselves, for example, do you know why we are doing elections in phases?
The government wanted to champion
It's
this.
not. It's Parliament. It is Parliament. What is government? This government
Michelle,
has
can I
got
say
3
something,
arms.
please?
Let's have Vivian speak now.
The thing is, this political parties fund, as Makesi rightly says, is ring-fenced by an act of Parliament, and I think it's 2.5%
An act of Parliament.
I think it's 2.5% of own source revenue that is supposed to go towards funding political parties. So to speak and say that, you know, the government follows the rule of law and then second guess this particular fund and cut it, it's like it's so ironic.
So people
it's
accuse Parliament.
It's just part of the lies that this
Parliament.
government propagates.
It is Parliament that went against an act of Parliament.
What the executive and Kenya Kwanza.
Who has majority in
Let's be
Parliament?
real here. Let's be
But
real
who has
here.
majority in Parliament?
You know, let's be real
It's
here.
Kenya Kwanza.
Let's be real here. When Parliament
bulldoze
countermanded,
everything.
Vivian, wait. When Parliament countermanded the head of state's decision on cutting of expenditure, Parliament, didn't Kenya Kwanza still have the majority in Parliament? Parliament stood up and told the president, no, we are an independent arm. And I'm here from UDA. I am telling you that we are not happy with the way Parliament reduced money. But the UDA is actually suffering because, you know, Michelle, whatever they are saying here is reactionary.
Michelle,
is not based on
these are the kings and queens of double speak.
It cannot be done.
They say they are doing something.
I have given an example. No one wants to address that. But all of a sudden, now I've just told you, the head of state himself stood up and said everybody should actually reduce. You can stop bullying me because you do. You know, we cannot run around with these small-time incitements. This is the issue. Can we park this blame where it belongs? Parliament cut the spending by political parties, and I am coming from UDA. No, this is the point. This is the point. UDA, the party, does not run parliamentary affairs. We are a party, and I'm telling you that from where we're sitting, this is, you know, and Chinua Achebe says,
members of Parliament on this very platform,
Michelle,
members of the opposition just stop being selfish.
Michelle, wait.
Other things going on.
Michelle, wait.
Michelle, and leave
Michelle, wait. Let me tell you.
We are not UDA members.
I come from UDA, and I am telling you that we as UDA are hurt.
And enough
because
of
we lost
UDA.
most
Can
money.
we just move on?
Let's move on to this. And I'd like to get your thoughts on this, Vivian.
Actually,
as we wind up on the
UDA does not help
president's
us.
US trip, and many have asked questions about the state of opposition in the country now, because when we saw the opposition leaders being part of this trip to the US, we had the Azimio team explain and say these opposition leaders had actually been invited by the US. And so we had the likes of Robert Alai asking, how can the US invite a minority leader, you know, during a state visit? It was a credible question. So questions have been asked, even by by members of ODM. Does it mean that we are now working with the president ODM needs to give clarity. And of course, we've seen Raila Odinga in several other state events. The same Raila Odinga who has castigated ODM members for going to State House, for being seen in Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's meetings. What do you make of the entire situation and what it speaks to the state of the opposition, especially the ODM party?
I don't think it undermines the opposition. I think it strengthens and speaks of the strength of democracy in Kenya. It's important to not have like one-sided representation. Like if there's going to be a state visit, it's important to have, you know, a robust representation, not just from the government side. And rightly so, Honorable Opiyo Wandayi is the minority leader in parliament. Majority leader Kimani Ichung'wah was in the delegation. Why is it not right for the minority leader to be part of the delegation? It doesn't make sense. If the majority leader can go, then the minority leader should be able to go. And he's Kenyan anyway. He's a taxpayer. Why would he not be included just because he's in the opposition? It's important that all voices are heard and represented, regardless of whether you support the government or not. And that goes for even the governors who are not elected on Kenya Kwanza, for example, Gladys Wanga and Wavinya Ndeti and all the others, you know, who went as part of the delegation. So I don't see how that is a problem. These are national leaders. These are people elected by the people of Kenya to represent them, to hold the government accountable. The government is here signing deals on behalf of all of us. It is important that it's not just the yes men who are there. It's important to have both, you know, both sides very well represented, regardless of whether they were invited by the US government or went as part of the delegation, because these are parliamentary leaders, so to speak. They're leaders in Kenya's parliament. So I don't see a problem at all with that. I don't see any double speak there.
All right, Mokesi.
Michelle, I think the only thing that as a country we probably need to do is to enhance the role of the leader of opposition. And I fully agree with these recommendations to always create this position in parliament. Because I think the question is, would it have gained more legitimacy if it was Raila going there? Would Kenyans ask less questions? But I think it's a tradition that we should completely encourage. What I would like to urge and what I'd like for us to see more of is when the president does all these trips. The president has made over, I don't know, 70 trips in the last 1 year or 2 years. All those trips, then we expect and we should hope to see a more significant presence of the opposition leaders as part of the delegations, and let's show this to Kenyans so that it doesn't look like as though this was an insistence of the US government that the opposition must be there. And also, the other thing, Michelle, I want to speak to Kenyans is we are all seated here arguing with Maliba, pushing back and forth because we want to make Kenya great. We are not here so that we push one side down. We want to help this country become better. And we make this country better by calling out when the ruling coalition is making blunders, when it is saying things that don't matter. Not because Mwakesi feels better when he says this and I'm showing that I have complete defiance with the Kenyan government. No, we want to make this administration, we want to make this country great by calling them to account, by putting facts as they are, so that people do not come here and mislead the entire republic. And that's why it's important that when you see Opiyo Wandayi and other opposition leaders in a state visit like that, they feel that whatever is being said in those rooms is something that actually takes care of the interests of Kenyans and not just anybody else. So for me, I'm fully for it. I fully support it, and I ask them to come back. But Opiyo Wandayi should not come back here and start telling us now he's joining Kenya Kwanza. Once he does that, he should know there's a problem. But also, Michelle, just on the issue of, you asked something about is it right? Is it right for Baba to say, for example, you know, appear on state visits and, you know, national celebrations and things like that? And is it, on the same note, is it wrong when, for example, ODM elected MPs, you know, go to State House? The thing is, when you're elected under a party, you are under the umbrella or the cover of that political party. You do not act on your own. If you wanted to act on your own independently, you would have run as an independent candidate, because the constitution allows for that. Once you are under a political party, whether UDA or ODM or WIPA or any other political party, you should align with the policies and just the way that the party operates. Yeah, but how does it operate? Because it's okay now and it wasn't okay 5 months ago. No. We are not saying it's okay now and it wasn't okay five months ago. The thing is,
when we speak of people like Opio and I and the governors, they've gone in their capacity as, you know, as leaders, leaders of parliament. Gladys Wanga is, I think, the vice chairperson of the health committee of the Council of Governors. So they've gone in their capacity, you know, as national leaders, not in their personal capacity as now me trying to undermine my political party and now sneak behind the curtain and go to State House. Remember, the Political Parties Act also clearly speaks about members who go against their political party way of doing things. There are consequences to this. So it's not out of the blue or out of jealousy that these things are raised. These things are raised because if we are going to say we are following the rule of law and we are a democratic nation, there's a way, kuna mpangilio. There's a way things
Michelle, I want to point out this thing before Maliba responds. Kenyans are apprehensive about seeing opposition in the US, because the last time an American came here, there was a handshake between Uhuru and Raila. Senator Kunz was here, and next thing we knew, the whole opposition was swallowed. So maybe that's why Kenyans are apprehensive. But we expect them not to follow in that suit. We still want a vibrant opposition.
Michelle, it's so surprising that people are actually struggling to explain a simple thing as the minority part being part and parcel of a state visit to another country. You can actually see the words and everything else that are actually going into this, including statements being done to explain as simple and straightforward. If we only did politics of honesty, if we honestly were honest to ourselves and our leaders were truly honest to how running a government is and how politics really works, we will not be here explaining this. Let me just put this, let's go to the very basics. Number one, what is a government? A government is a group of people with the authority to govern. So I don't know who lied to people who are on the minority side that they are not government. Anyone elected, we're talking about people already elected, those people are government. We as UDA only consider ourselves as the leader of society. But in co-governing, we have got the minority side. Especially at the legislative level, we have got more than just UDA at that particular level. So you can therefore not go out there and say the government is UDA alone. What does Opio and I do in parliament, for example? He has got parliamentary budget. He has got vehicles given to him. He is co-governing in the role of the minority. So I do not see why ODM went so far as doing an elaborate statement to explain something that is obvious. Oh, I know why they actually went ahead and actually explained that, because number one, they've been blowing cold and hot. That there is a time when they think it's right for some other people to do it. And you know, those are not the politics of the Constitution 2010. It is politics of dictatorship. It's politics of banditry, where you are being told that you sneak behind the curtain. Where does the Political Parties Act say that there is a front door and back door? A member of parliament, for example, who wants to discuss development in his constituency, doesn't have to go to the political party, right to the when we have got an act on precedence. He doesn't have to go to some other people, sometimes who are not even in parliament and they're not in administration, to explain to them that tomorrow I will be meeting the president, or the president is coming into my constituency. He is also the president of that particular constituency. So therefore, should I attend or should I not attend? That kind of political banditry should not be there. So the thing is this, that even some of the people you see making noise, including the leading Azimio bloggers that you see online, bashing Kenya Kwanza every day, those people are paid by the exchequer because they are either on the payroll of the minority leader or other people. And that's why I'm saying they are taxpayers, and therefore they are government. It is government that is paying them. So there's no one who is out. You know, she didn't even get the point. If you only listen to the point, she will actually not be here heckling. This is the point. This is the point, that
I'm just
the people in the minority are in government.
Okay.
We had a state visit. It was the government of Kenya that was actually going there. It was not necessary, were it not for the banditry type of politics that ODM does to its own members. When it doesn't like, they would not have done that statement. Otherwise, that's how it's done. When the US came here, they came with both. You've seen the US government visiting us. They came both with the Republicans and Democrats. When Obama was here, we had people from both sides of government. And it was not a question. That is the type of republic that the Constitution 2010 gave us. Leave alone our bad manners. There's the political bad manners that we have, and we think that's how politics is done.
Okay, Vivian, we want to take a break, but you're a member of the Azimio coalition, so to speak. Are you and other members jittery about a handshake, like Mwakesi says?
Absolutely not. No jitters, no apprehension. We have a leadership, we trust in the leadership, and there are no jitters. There's no reason to have jitters. The only thing causing jitters in this country is the additional taxes we're anticipating, corruption, fake austerity measures, non-accountability, demolitions in Gikomba and all over the place for poor Kenyans. Those are the things causing jitters.
Okay.
Rising cost of
Michelle,
living.
just to
on paper, we are being told the economy is strong, but then your 1,000 shillings can barely buy anything in the supermarket.
Alafu they are cutting Linda Mama.
To add on to your question, to respond to your question on what Vivian was responding to, if anyone feels that Azimio is not doing sufficient opposition politics, Mwakesi is free to go to the streets and do what Raila is doing.
Right,
why would a young man in his 30s be here looking upon a 77-year-old man to fight for him?
Okay.
Educated, strong, eloquent, and he is saying that he has got jitters. Mwakesi is a party leader. He should actually take lead. And if he feels Raila is not doing
jitters.
There should be no jitters. There should be no jitters. I am responding to her question. That's what I'm saying. And that question arose from what Mwakesi said. That's what I'm saying. If any person feels that Raila is not doing opposition effectively, they should take lead.
On that I agree with Maliba.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break here.
Yeah, on that I agree with Maliba.
On you, Don. We also invite your feedback and your comments on this conversation. When we come back, we'll be sampling some of your comments, but also, even as President William Ruto comes back with a bag full of goodies, there are those who feel that the development projects coming back may be hindered by simmering tensions within the executive, especially the widening rift between President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. When we come back, we discuss what next for UDA and what next for Gachagua. Do stay with us.
When it's a Saturday, there's only one entertainment show in East and Central Africa. Arena 254. Join Aisha Wanjiku and Tony Mwirigi for all the artistic interviews fused with amazing entertainment conversations and sizzling hot live DJ mixes. Catch this and so much more every Saturday from 10 p.m.
Skuzi nimetizi na wakanesa manzi mkamba anishuko milema.
Only on K24 TV. Agriculture is the engine of economic growth in Kenya. It is the largest contributor to Kenya's GDP. Farming, if well practiced, is a profitable venture. Kilimo na Biashara is a show that seeks to help Kenyan farmers